Dear students, now we are going to discuss respiration as an amphibolic pathway. So the traditional belief about respiration was a catabolic process. So it is not only catabolic process, but also anabolic. Hence the name amphibolic pathway. So amphibolic means involved in both anabolism and catabolism. So what about the statement? Respiration is amphi. Amphi means two. Amphibolic pathway or amphibolic metabolism also. Okay, so what is that amphibolic pathway? So respiration is concerned with oxidation of complex molecules. Oxidation of complex biomolecules. Biomolecules to synthesize or to produce energy. So according to that statement, definitely that is a catabolic process. It is a catabolism. Catabolic. Okay, so that is a main purpose of respiration, right? So complex organic biomolecules are converted into simple inorganic compounds, CO2 and H2O, for example. Or if it is anaerobic respiration, CO2 and other organic acids. But better take a aerobic respiration. Okay, so it is a catabolic process. And second one, certain intermediate compounds, certain intermediate compounds are withdrawn for the synthesis of precursors, means acting as precursors. Certain intermediates are withdrawn and acting as precursors of carbon skeleton. Carbon skeleton. Okay, so here carbon skeleton means what is carbon skeleton? Particularly, here I'm giving two examples. Many examples are there. Proteins, lipids, and other cell wall materials also. Cell wall materials. So many are there. Proteins, lipids, which are involved in the construction of the body, concerned with the construction of a body, concerned organism body. So every organism, actually, what is a protein building blocks of the body or not? Definitely, that is a carbon skeleton involved in the construction of the body. Not only proteins and lipids, it depends on organism. In the case of plants, cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, they are also carbon skeleton. But according to NCERT, they gave us two examples. So many examples are there. So according to this concept, now the respiration is anabolic, anabolism. Simple compounds are converted into complex organic compounds. Hence the name amphibolic pathway. So it is not only catabolic, but also anabolic. The reason is, even though plants are able to synthesize a carbohydrate, definitely they are not able to produce cellulose, hemicellulose, and other cell wall materials, lipids, proteins by means of photosynthesis. If a question is asked, what is the end product of photosynthesis? Definitely carbohydrate. What is that carbohydrate? Definitely you have to answer, that is hexose glucose molecule, or disaccharide sucrose, or polysaccharide starch. Here we should not use cellulose, hemicellulose, and other cell wall materials and other biomolecules which are involved in the construction of a cell membrane or the body. Reason, during photosynthesis, only carbohydrates are produced, not the carbon skeleton. So to construct the body, to perform work, compulsory, respiration is mandatory. So as it is involved in both anabolic and catabolic metabolic activities, it is called as amphibolic pathway. Photosynthesis, only anabolic. Protein biosynthesis, only anabolic. But this one is both anabolic and catabolic. So if you go back to introduction part, very important statement. The purpose of respiration, not only energy, carbon skeleton involved in the synthesis of a certain number of compounds which are involved in the construction of the body of the organism, building blocks. What are they? We'll see. Right? So definitely it is a amphibolic pathway. Right? Next. So that is a statement we justified. So what are the respiratory substrates? Respiratory substrates. Okay, so carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. So here you have to take a polymers, for example, starch, sucrose, disaccharide, and so on. So definitely the preferred substrate for respiration is a glucose molecule, that is a monomer carbohydrate. Next, lipids. Next, proteins and organic acids also. Organic acids also. Okay, right? So particularly carbohydrates, proteins, and so-called organic acids. Definitely they are present in the food or not. The concerned food is with all these materials. Okay, so all these are in pure form. Pure. Pure means they are in polysaccharides, polypeptides, polymeric form. So pure form of respiratory substrates not suitable for oxidation. No organism is able to oxidize carbohydrate, starch, sucrose directly. Before that one, all these must be digested with the help of certain number of enzymes. So particularly carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins. So with the help of enzymes, whatever the type of enzyme, we'll see. And they cause hydrolysis. This part is a digestion part. Okay, so after digestion, monomers, simple monomers are produced. Monomers. These monomers are subjected to oxidation. Oxidation during respiration to release energy, particularly, and also carbon skeleton, carbon skeleton during respiration. Okay, so this part is a respiration. Okay, so they must be converted into monomers. Only monomers are suitable for oxidation during respiration. So pure form of respiratory substrates not suitable for respiration. They must be converted into simple monomers. That may be glucose, fructose, or fat, glycerol, or deaminated amino acid. We will see what are they. Right? So after digestion only, monomers. So for example, in human body, carbohydrates must be converted into glucose. Now glucose enters into blood, and that blood is able to carry glucose into each and every cell. Once glucose is available within the cytoplasm of that cell, it is subjected to first phase, that is glycolysis. Next, within the mitochondrial matrix, link reaction TCA cycle. After that, electron transport system, right? So now, here the important thing is, what about the how to understand a amphibolic mechanism with the help of flowchart? Okay. Okay, so how to understand amphibolic pathway? So take carbohydrates. First, carbohydrates. Whatever the type of carbohydrate. Okay, so digestion of carbohydrates. By various enzymes. What are they? Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. That may be invertase, amylase, cellulase. It depends on type of the carbohydrate. So ultimately, after digestion, definitely all carbohydrates, according to textbook statement, all carbohydrates are converted into glucose molecule. So the most preferred carbohydrate for respiration is glucose. So now glucose is ready for aerobic respiration or that anaerobic respiration, whatever it is. So glucose is converted into fructose 1,6 bisphosphate after certain number of reactions here I'm taking. And this hexose diphosphate is cleaved into two trioges. What are they? They are well known to you after cleavage reaction. One is G3P. G3P, or this is also called as PGAL, phosphoglyceraldehyde triose. and this one DHAP, dihydroxy acetone phosphate. This is a reversible reaction. As DHAP is not suitable for biological oxidation, that must be converted into G3P. Okay, right? So now G3P ultimately convert into pyruvic acid. PA, simply I'm writing pyruvic acid. Whatever the number of pyruvic acids, leave it. Now pyruvic acid is converted into acetyl coenzyme A. Now acetyl coenzyme A enters into TCA cycle. TCA cycle. So this is the path of aerobic respiration we discussed. After that, electron transport system. What is the purpose of electron transport system? Oxidation of NADH, FADH, and reduction of oxygen into H2O molecule. So what is the role of oxygen? Simply, oxygen is reduced into H2O. For the reduction of oxygen into H2O, what are the requirements? Electrons and protons. So ultimately, oxygen is able to drive, able to accept, able to extract electrons and protons from the system or not. It was clearly mentioned in a textbook. Oxygen is able to accept electrons and protons. Ultimate electron and hydrogen acceptor. Definitely for the reduction of O2 molecule or half O2 to electrons. Half O2 to electrons to H plus, one H2 molecule. So the oxygen is able to accept electrons and protons. Hence the statement given one, O2 is very important for electron transport system. It is able to accept electrons and protons from the system. Okay. So this is about so-called aerobic respiration if glucose molecule is involved or carbohydrates are involved, right? So here, very, very important thing, pyruvic acid, one of the intermediate compound. Acetyl coenzyme A, one of the intermediate compounds. During TCA cycle, many intermediate compounds are present. Say, for example, alpha ketoglutaric acid. Here I'm writing alpha ketoglutaric acid. Remember this one. This is very, very important. Alpha ketoglutaric acid. We came across this word under the heading fate of ammonia, that is a reductive amination, amino acid biosynthesis, fate of ammonia. Remember that one. Next, here I'm taking succinic acid. Succinic acid. Next, malic acid. Like that, many intermediate compounds are there. Malic acid. Right? Now, go back to your textbook statement. If one glucose molecule is completely oxidized without the withdrawal of at least one of the intermediates, definitely that glucose is able to produce 40 ATP molecules. If none of the intermediate compounds are withdrawn, means what is the meaning of that one? Means glucose is completely oxidized. There is no withdrawal of pyruvic acid from the system. There is no withdrawal of acetyl coenzyme from system or alpha ketoglutaric acid. Means whatever the intermediate compound producer should undergo oxidation to yield 40 ATP molecules. Otherwise, if at least one or two molecules are withdrawn from the system and involved in the synthesis of carbon skeleton, definitely the energy possible out of oxidation of that glucose molecule is less than 40. We'll see. We'll see now. Okay, so this is a basic skeleton of so-called aerobic respiration. Now take one more respiratory substrate, fat. Here I'm taking fat. Go back to biomolecules first year part. What is fat? Okay, so fat is a glycerol. Glycerol with fatty acid. Glycerol with fatty acid. Simple lipid. Glycerol. Monoglyceride. Diglyceride. triglyceride. So glycerides. Here I'm taking glyceride. What is that glyceride? Glyceride. Whatever the type of glyceride, monoglyceride or diglyceride or triglyceride. So glycerol, simple I'm giving, glycerol with ester bond and fatty acid. Fatty acid. Okay, so this is a glycerol, for example only. Okay, the bond between glycerol and fatty acid is a ester bond, EB, ester bond. Okay, so most of the lipids, what is lipid according to textbook? R group attached to COOH or COOH attached to R group or not, alkyl group. Or instead of that one, better take a glyceride, monoglyceride, diglyceride, triglyceride. Okay, so here fat is in pure form, not suitable for biological oxidation. Now hydrolysis, breaking down of that ester bond. So hydrolysis of EB, I'm writing ester bond. Ester bond. Here you can take lipase enzyme. Lipase. You can take lipase enzyme acting on lipids. Okay, so once that fat is hydrolyzed. Okay, so what are the monomers produced here? One is glycerol. See, in your textbook it was again clearly mentioned glycerol. Glycerol. And this one is a fatty acid. Fatty acid. Now go back. On the base of these two compounds, definitely we can answer what is this one? Glyceride. That may be monoglyceride or diglyceride or triglyceride. So if glyceride is hydrolyzed, what are the monomers produced? Fatty acid, glycerol, right? So now glycerol is converted into DHAP or G3P. Glycerol is converted into DHAP or glycerol. So now what is the entry point of a fatty acid? If it is a glycerol, the entry point is a glycolysis. So here glycerol is bypassing certain number of reactions or not. So here glucose into glucose 6-phosphate. Okay, glucose 6-phosphate into fructose 6-phosphate. Fructose 6-phosphate into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Reactions are not required for glycerol. Reason, the entry point of glycerol is here only in the form of DHAP or G3P. So oxidation of glycerol is bypassing certain number of reactions or not, but overall entering into glycolysis, mid of the glycolysis. Next, what about a fatty acid? Fatty acid is converted into acetyl coenzyme A. Acetyl coenzyme A by means of some reactions. Okay, so now this acetyl coenzyme A is entering into TCA cycle. Okay, so if they question you, what about the entry point? Entry point of fatty acids. Okay, fats. The entry point is glycolysis if it is glycerol, but mid of the glycolysis, not all the reactions. Glycerol is bypassing certain number of reactions, glucose to fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. So in the form of glycerol, the fat is entering into so-called aerobic respiratory pathway. That is common for both aerobic and anaerobic. Next, fatty acid must be converted into acetyl coenzyme A. So glycerol is in the form of DHAP or G3P. Fatty acid in the form of acetyl coenzyme A. So if it is in the form of acetyl coenzyme A, so-called fats are bypassing complete glycolysis and link reaction also, directly entering into TCA cycle, right? So far we are discussing catabolism only. We will discuss anabolism after completion of this one. So that is about catabolism of carbohydrate and fat. And now proteins. Protein is a polymer, heteropolymer. Pure form of a protein is not suitable for oxidation. It must be digested. Hydrolysis of a protein with the help of an enzyme, that is a proteolytic enzyme or proteases. Proteases, they are concerned with the hydrolysis of peptide bond. What is the bond present between two successive amino acids? Peptide bond. Proteolytic enzymes, proteases are able to cause hydrolysis of a peptide bond. So now amino acids are produced. Amino acids. So this part is digestion. This one also digestion. This part is digestion. Digestion. That is also digestion. Now, deamination. Deamination. Removal of a amino group. Okay, so once it is deaminated, now deaminated amino acid will enter into respiratory chain in the form of either pyruvic acid, in the form of pyruvic acid, or in the form of acetyl coenzyme A, or in the form of alpha ketoglutaric acid, or succinic acid, or in the form of malic acid. Okay, so for the oxidation of a deaminated amino acid, glycolysis is not required. From link reaction onwards required if it is pyruvic acid. So deaminated amino acid is converted into either pyruvic acid or acetyl coenzyme A or one of the intermediates. That may be alpha ketoglutaric acid, succinic acid, or malic acid. Right? So this is about catabolism. This is catabolic pathway, energy producing pathway. For example, all of a sudden or regular means of metabolism, that organism is in need of proteins, lipids, fats are required. Okay, so now certain number of intermediates. So far we discussed catabolism only. Now reverse. For example, protein is to be synthesized. So now listen carefully. So now reverse. Pyruvic acid is withdrawn from the respiratory chain, converted into amino acid, and involved in the formation of a protein. Or acetyl coenzyme A withdrawn from the respiratory chain, involved in the formation of amino acid. Next, alpha ketoglutaric acid, any one of them, alpha ketoglutaric acid, aminated, reductoamination, involved in the formation of amino acid, and ultimately involved in the formation of a protein. Okay, so if it is like this catabolism, reverse anabolism. Here I'm writing. So this one is a anabolism. And this one is a catabolism. Catabolism. Come back. If one energy is required from fats, entry of that one into respiratory chain and oxidation. All of a sudden, our regular metabolic reaction, fats are required. Now, acetyl coenzyme A is withdrawn. So this way, catabolic. Catabolic. Now, acetyl coenzyme A should be converted into fatty acid to synthesize a fat. So now acetyl coenzyme A is withdrawn from the respiratory chain. So now it is a anabolism, removed and converted into fatty acid and associated with the glycerol. Now here also G3P or DHAP converted into glycerol. Now these two are involved in the synthesis of concerned fat. For example, lecithin. What is lecithin? Phospholipid involved in the construction of a cell membrane, right? So this way in your textbook, this way was given. This way means from upside to down is catabolic process. Make it reverse catabolism, anabolism. So if it is towards down, catabolism. Make it towards upside, definitely synthesis of various biomolecules, particularly fat, protein, involved in the construction of a cell membrane or not. What chemically, what is membrane? Proteins, lipids, polysaccharides also, cholesterol also. To synthesize a cell membrane, various biomolecules required or not. All those biomolecules are coming from respiration by means of a anabolic pathway, anabolic reaction. So definitely, so-called respiration is both anabolic and catabolic. It is against our traditional belief that the respiration is concerned with catabolism. But according to this flow chart, respiration is not only catabolism, but also anabolism. Both are required. So with the help of this statement, we can justify the first statement given in your textbook introduction part. The role of respiration is energy and also synthesis of precursors for carbon skeleton. That carbon skeleton is fat, lipid. Okay, so if glucose is completely oxidized, 40 ATP molecules possible. Otherwise, for example, glucose is converted into fructose 1,6 bisphosphate up to G3P. Now, out of DHAP and G3P, for example, one DHAP is withdrawn to synthesize fat. Only one G3P is available for oxidation. What about the number of ATP molecules total? Definitely less than 40 or not. Or, for example, DHAP, G3P produced. Pyruvic acid produced now. Two pyruvic acids. Out of two pyruvic acids, one pyruvic acid is for amino acid synthesis. Only one pyruvic acid is involved in respiration, oxidation. Less than 40 or not. Next, for example, two acetyl-CoA out of one glucose molecule. One is subjected to oxidation, one is withdrawn to synthesize fat or to synthesize a amino acid. Then what about the number of ATP molecules? Definitely less than 40 or not. That's why the given statement, if none of the intermediates are withdrawn from the respiratory chain, maximum amount of energy is liberated. Otherwise, the number of ATP molecules definitely less than 40, right? So that is about a amphibolic pathway. Respiration is amphibolic pathway.